This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Miles Memories Weekly, episode 248. Miles Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about painting, modeling, and wargaming experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 videos a week. How? Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, I have been reeling a little bit after my Black Templars got a little hit with the Nerfed bats. But also, I've been thinking a lot about squares lately, and today's sponsor, Squarespace, has got all sorts of squares. Squarespace allows anyone to design the website of their dreams with the most powerful and easiest design tools in the industry, like Design Blueprint. Using AI technology empowers anyone to build a more personalized website tailored to their needs, crafting a bespoke digital identity. Choose from a professionally curated selection of styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace makes sure it's easy to launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated optimized SEO tools, so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. With Squarespace, it's never been easier to set up a unique online storefront. Whether your services are physical, digital, or service-based, selling your wares has never been easier. Squarespace offers an unmatched ability to showcase your unique wares with images, videos, reviews, and add-ons, all capped off with their seamless checkout tools, letting your customers use whatever system they prefer, whether Klarna, ACH Direct Deposit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, or ClearPay. Squarespace offers a free trial for you to dip your feet into and test the waters, and ready to dive in head first, you can go to squarespace.com/EonsOfBattle or follow the link in the description to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I love a good balanced data slate, even the bad ones, the ones that are kind of rough. It's really fun that Warhammer just gets a literal shakeup, like they take the rules and they just shake them, and then you gotta kind of figure out what changed and what happened. But my Black Templars got hit with the Nerf bat kinda hard. All of the really good things went up in points, which is kind of the standard operating procedure of Games Workshop. Like if something is good and seemingly underpointed, then it does have to go up in points. But the Black Templar stuff, I feel like they were pretty good, but they were pretty good in context of Black Templars. Like not everything in 40k is equal. Like I would take Orc Boys in almost any army in 40k, but it's like 80 points for 10 guys who hit really, really hard in close combat. But you can't take you can only take Orc Boys in Orcs. That's where they make sense, and that's where they're costed effectively for what they are. Oh, if I could take, it would be absolute heresy, but if I could take like Orc Boys in Space Marines and give them Oath of Moment or something, is Oath of Moment better than WOG? Kind of, sort of. It changes the math in a very different kind of way. But the point is that every single faction does have kind of busted things, but they make sense and they work in that faction. And I feel like Black Templar's busted stuff, maybe it didn't need to get hit so hard with the Nerf bat. The Castellan is up 10 points. That makes sense. Like Castellan is really good. You tape a Castellan and a Marshal and a 5-man squad of Sword Bros together, you got a little gaggle of fellas who can kill almost anything in the game. So a 10-point increase there, like it does kind of make sense. And then Emperor's Champion, he's one of the best close combat units in the game. Like he's just really, really good, either taken as a lone op or attached to like a 5-man Assault Intercessor squad. He's just really, really good. I once had him sword a Chimera to death in one go, which is just amazing. Like there's just one dude with a power sword and he walks up to a Chimera and then just it explodes. It was great. So Sword Emperor's Champion went up. He's like, it does make sense. And then the Repulsor Executioner, but the Black Templar's Repulsor Executioner that gets to reroll all of its shots, it also went up by 15 points, which that one is probably the most fair. It's really a Rep X with all of its guns turbocharged. It does make a lot of sense for that to go up in points because it probably was a little too cheap before. When I read the Black Templar Codex, it was interesting. A lot of the data sheets fundamentally changed from where they were in the Index days versus the Codex days. And so in reading it, like I immediately picked up on what are the really good things. Sword Bro, Marshal, Castellan, Emperor's Champion. The Repulsor Executioner just blows all the other vehicles out of the water. Like those are the good things, and you can put together a list that takes those things. But the list is now 70 points more expensive. Like that's an entire scout squad just wiped from the list. And you can't not have that scout squad because the Space Marine army is a little tricky to have all of the tools that you need to play the game. So you need something to be like holding objectives and to help you get those secondary cards off. So that list, it's just, it's taken the wind out of my sails a little bit, running the good things from the Templar Codex because they got hit so hard. So then I was thinking, well, you know what? Maybe I don't go just hardcore Black Templars. Maybe I use the detachments in the Codex and I just take what I need to take to make those detachments pop off. It's really hard to get those Codex detachments to work. They're very weirdly specific. I think Games Workshop is really cracking at the seams of Space Marines because I think there's 30 Space Marine detachments out right now, and it's hard to write rules that are actually fundamentally different to some of the other ones. So the way they handled this for the Black Templars is they got very, very specific. There's one attachment built all around bringing chaplains, and specifically that new chaplain character that I can't even remember the name of, because the Execrator. He's okay, he's fine. He's a very good close combat unit, although he comes with the chaplain's Crozius Arcanum, which is a Boinkin stick, and it's strength 6, like AP -1, damage 1. It's not good, but chaplains have always had a not very good weapon, but they make up for it in giving reroll wounds. Or +1 to wound sometimes. Like they help you out on the wound stage. So really the chaplain is a battery that helps the rest of the squad. But he doesn't have that normal chaplain ability. He has charging after advancing, which is a really, really solid rule. But it's a rule that Black Templars already have access to with things like Gladius Detachment and the, not Vanguard Spearhead, it's the White Scars one. Like there's 2 detachments that already let us do that army wide, so it doesn't feel like you really want to spend the points to bring the guy who also lets you do that, because I could just run the detachment that lets me do it and then attach Marshall and Castellan, which are really, really good at pumping up the damage potential of the actual models in the squad. So that detachment, there's still something to it. There's some pretty good enhancements and some pretty good stratagems. But really, that detachment is built around bringing the big brick of not sword brethren, Crusaders. Crusaders have always been a little tricky for the Black Templars. It's a 10-man brick of essentially Space Marines with chainswords. It can be very, very good. It throws a frankly hilarious number of dice, and they can have sustained, actually they do have sustained hits on all those dice. So you throw like 40 attacks and it can often spike to more attacks than you actually started out throwing, especially if you have like Grimaldus or something buffing the attacks. Like having to purchase them in 10-man bricks is expensive, and I feel like it really forces you to commit to them. And then bumping it up to a 20-man squad, it can be really, really rough, especially now that we don't have things like the 6-up Feel No Pain from the old Index days. Like that 10-man brick, or that 20-man brick, if it gets caught out at the wrong time and just gets annihilated by something in the enemy's army, that could be like a quarter of my army gone, because they're just normal Space Marines. And not only are they normal Space Marines, but they're 50% normal Space Marines and then 50% Space Marine Scouts, which have a 4-up save. The Crusader squad is tricky. It really, really has to be built around and played around. And it doesn't generate a lot of excitement. I don't know how Games Workshop would do this, but if they could be taken in 5-man squads, that could make for a much more interesting unit to mess around with, because you could mess around with it. Bringing them in 10s and 20s, you're not messing around, you're committed. So the Chaplain detachment, it doesn't really butter my biscuits, it doesn't jingle my bells, it doesn't flim my flams, it's not super, super exciting. The other one is the detachment that's built around buffing the Ancients. And Space Marine Ancients are kind of not good. They increase the objective control of the squad that they're attached to, and the Black Templar Crusade Ancient comes with a power sword, so that's a little something. And he grants Fight on Death, which is kind of interesting. It's a 4-up Fight on Death though, and I don't make 4-ups to roll, so that detachment doesn't do a lot for me. The one that is my favorite, but probably the worst one of the bunch, is the Godhammer Assault Force, the one built around vehicles. Really, it's built around the Land Raiders. And Land Raiders are kind of interesting. The Land Raider Crusader, the one that the Black Templars invented, the one with the twin hurricane, or the double hurricane bolters and the assault cannon on top, the twin linked assault cannon on top. It's 220 points, which is honestly pretty cheap for a Land Raider. It doesn't do an absolute ton other than just be an unstoppable brick, but I've taken it in many, many games and it is stoppable. It is actually stoppable. I think, have I played a game where it survived the whole game? I think I played one game where the Land Raider Crusader actually survived the whole game. But overall, it's just okay. It does grant you the amazing ability Assault Ramp, which lets you be able to disembark and then charge the unit that was inside. And it's not limit one per customer. So if you had two things in the Land Raider and hop them both out, they could both charge after disembarking, which is really, really cool. And that's kind of what got me thinking, because if Castellan and Rep-X's are no longer like the bee's knees, maybe I could do a little something like, what do I have to do to make this detachment really start to sink? Because I'm willing to do some weird stuff. My mind immediately went to the Centurion Assault Squad, one of my babies. I love the Centurion Assault Squad, a close combat monstrosity with 4 inches of natural movement. I love it. But if they can disembark from a Land Raider, maybe there's a little something to it. Now, the only problem is the things that really help out: my Templar Vow, giving +1 wound if I'm attacking something that if my strength is less than their toughness, I get +1 to wound. That is huge. And it can even help my Centurions, because even though they're strength 10, if I'm going into like a Rogel Dorn battle tank, or I think even a Lehman Russ's toughness 11, it would really, really help out to actually pop those things. Now, the actual detachment ability, +1 to hit, it doesn't really help my Sword Brethren and Black Templars because they already hit on 2s, so there's no benefit to them getting out of a Rhino or a Land Raider in this detachment. But the Centurions would be getting the benefits to their hit, which is really, really nice. The tricky thing is, the best stratagem in this detachment is reroll wound rolls for things that disembarked from a transport. That is huge, but there's an anti-synergy with my Assault Centurions because they have twin linked on their fists. So there's I would be missing out on using that stratagem, and it's the one good stratagem in the detachment. All the other 3 of the stratagems in the Godhammer Assault Force are built around movement shenanigans for the Land Raider, which is fine, but a lot. Like, you want those damage dealing or like ridiculously like movement heavy stratagems. Like, one of the stratagems is a Land Raider can move through a building. That is genuinely really, really nice. But is it worth taking up one of my stratagem slots? I don't know. It's just kind of okay. I could probably drive around the building if I really needed to. Especially if that stratagem was written in such a way to make my Black Templar army actually start to pop off. Or just give me, let me have devastating wounds on the Land Raider Crusader's guns. It still wouldn't even be very good, but it is a lot of shots. So that probably would math out to 3 or 4 mortal wounds if I just blast all of my guns at something. The Centurions are a very interesting choice in this detachment. Another thing I was kind of thinking, because I can stack so many different modifiers to my hit and wound rolls on things that disembark from Land Raiders, maybe I do something really dumb, like I just spam Space Marine Reavers. The Reavers are really, really cheap, and they force battle shock checks, and they have AP1 on their knives now. There is a little something there. Maybe I just volume of dice my enemies away. They are 5 points more than just a bog standard Assault Intercessor squad, which I don't know necessarily what I'm paying for with those 5 extra points. I don't know. It's really, really tricky to really try to write something that will really get this detachment to pop off. It's just got weird anti-synergies all over the place because the detachment was written so specifically with Land Raider Crusaders and Crusader squads in mind. I think that right there is the reason why these detachments aren't that exciting, is because they're so specific. Gladius Task Force helps every Space Marine unit in the Codex. It just whatever a Space Marine unit could want, it can get it somewhere in that detachment. These detachments, there's just so many riders. It's if you are a vehicle, and if your vehicle is a Land Raider, and if something disembarked this turn, then all of a sudden this thing happens. And sometimes just all of those different riders makes it really, really tricky to actually get to just really get something going. I'm still tinkering with it and I'm still fudging with it, but I want this detachment to work because it'd also be really, really fun to be like winning games with the worst detachment for Black Templars. But now that the best things are nerfed, maybe maybe there's a little bit, maybe the floor has gone down a little bit and there's some more wiggle room in the detachments. Also, I can't complain too hard because Sean's army's got nerfed too. Not Imperial Guard, unfortunately. His parking lot guard list is fine, if not much, much better now with the new detachment, but also his Emperor's Children got nerfed. So haha. My Black Templar have had a fun year of 40k. Index Black Templar was phenomenal. There was that one time where somebody won a grand tournament with just spamming Crusader squads, and so Games Workshop nerfed our Crusader boys into the ground for a bit. But then slowly, we worked our way back up. And that always happens with the Black Templars. Like our Gladiator Valiants, they were pointed like to the moon because of our free multi-melta, but then they slowly started to drop in points, and now they're, with this new balanced data slate, they're back down to the pre-nerf points. They now cost the same as the regular Space Marine Gladiator Valiant. 3 multi-meltas. That is 6 multi-melta shots and a las cannon taped onto that. Like, in theory, it could mathematically do like 30 or 40 points of damage, but strength 9 means you're wounded on 5s. There's a really good chance at doing nothing. But it is really cool though. Like the Gladiator Lancer is kind of the sure thing because you get the reroll. I think you get a reroll, a hit roll, a wound roll, and the damage roll. If you're like 1 damage die if you want, which is really, really good. Versus the slot machine of I'm rolling a lot of dice that could do a lot of damage, melt it too, but we'll see if I can roll 5s and 6s. And historically, I cannot roll 5s and 6s. But you know what I can roll? Some of the amazing dice available from EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the place to find all sorts of great hobby goodies. We got wet palettes, we got paints, we got brushes, we got water slide decals, we got basing toppers and bits, we got glue, we got cork for days, and we have terrain. It's the best way to support us doing what we do by getting a membership. Each month, members get a credit, good for any terrain pack we have ever made, or the brand spanking new one. Our new terrain for December, the Bubble City. Embrace your inner amphibian with this alien encampment. A truly unique series of aquatic structures like the Bubble House, Bubble Command Center, and Bubble Fortress. And it's not just buildings, it also has some powerful defenses in the turret and shield walls. Get ready to get immersed in some underwater goodness perfect for all the popular war games. As annoying as it is to have my army nerfed before I even got a chance to play it in the unnerfed state, it is really, really fun doing the list building and the list tailoring and trying to come up with something weird. My goal is when I set up my army and my opponent sees it from across the table, they're very confused. That is my ultimate goal. I want the confusion, and I do want it to actually be able to perform at least a little bit. Do any of you guys have the same thing? Do you have any like weird army lists that you just enjoy running, even though it's kind of objectively bad? That's kind of how I like to play 40k. I like it to get weird. Thanks for watching.